part 3 of this chapter of drug stability and kinetics. In this part, we are going to discuss about the influence of light on the decomposition of the products, that is both as drug as well as the pharmaceutical products, and also how the stability of this pharmaceutical dosage form has been tested and what ICH and WHO guidelines says about this. To begin with, the influence of light on decomposition of pharmaceutical products. See, everyone knows that many of the packages comes with amber colored bottles to prevent the entry of light to the pharmaceutical dosage form, because the light may cause the degradation of the product or else the active pharmaceutical ingredient present in the product. Usually the light ranges from the radio waves to gamma rays. Gamma rays will be having the shorter wavelength, whereas radio waves will be having the longer wavelength. The shorter the wavelength, the more the power of the light and more the penetration power. So one must see the basics of the sterilization chapter. One of the type of sterilization is sterilization by irradiation. In this irradiation, they uses the X-rays or gamma rays or ultraviolet rays to kill the bacteria, because the shorter the wavelength, the more the penetration power, the more it can penetrate on the bacteria or fungus, and it can able to kill the microbes. So these kind of light having the more influence on the degradation of the drug as well compared to these rays. Light energy activates the drug molecules, causing the increased reaction rate. Drugs which undergo the light-induced chemical degradation are called as photolyable drugs or photosensitive drugs. Examples are riboflavin, tetracyclines, chlorpromazine. Color development and color fading are the indication of that the product or the drug is going to be, or it is having a photosensitive nature. The photochemical degradation of pharmaceutical products is due to the absorption of sunlight, particularly in the spectral region of ultraviolet, and in the visible region, the blue and the violet rate. See, the photostability testing usually will be tested in the range of UV or visible, because the sunlight itself, the range of the sunlight wavelength is from infrared to UV light. This remaining wavelengths will not be seen in the sunlight, since the products during the transportation or during the storage may have chances of the sunlight effect. So this will be tested only on the ultraviolet rays and some part of the violet and blue light, but they will not be testing in no more in the infrared rays, because infrared rays doesn't have more penetration power or more chemical degradation power. Light sources employed in the testing of drug decomposition are of artificial lights, which contains the or which emits the UV rays, because as such we cannot keep these pharmaceutical products on the light directly on the sunlight to test this. Hence they will be using the artificial lights which can emit the UV rays as well as some part of the visible light such as violet and blue. A few familiar pharmaceutical reactions are conversion of ergosterol to vitamin D by ultraviolet and a photosynthesis process, which is very well known, that plants uses the energy from sunlight and convert them into ATP and sucrose for their survivals. The major modes of the photochemical degradation of the products was given below. You can see there are many kinds of changes that has been happening to the drugs in the presence of light photo. See, if you take example of photo dealkylation, the chloroquine when kept under sunlight, it will go for dealkylation process and convert to some other form. And similarly, there are many examples has been given here. These many changes may happen in the presence of light. So these are all comes under the category of photosensitive or photoable drugs. So how to prevent this photolysis and how to prevent these pharmaceutical products from the light degradation? The common approach to afford photostability of pharmaceutical product is to protect them from light by using some suitable primary as well as secondary packings. And also the other methods like use of amber color containers, which everybody knows is a well-known prevention, and also complex formation. In complex and protein binding chapter, we have seen different complexes. Among these, caffeine, when it form a complex with riboflavin, the riboflavin usually will undergo the photolysis process if we left alone. But once it is forming the complex with the caffeine molecule, it is having more stable and it will not readily go for photolytic degradation. Similarly, another example is oligosaccharides. Oligosaccharides, one we are going to keep into the cyclotestin inclusion complexes. This compound will not be visible to the external environment, and it will be hidden in this inclusion complex of cyclotestin. So directly the light cannot able to pass on this molecule and it cannot able to go for degradation. Some other factors also can be considered, like choosing the choice of solvent and pH can able to prevent the photolysis of the drugs. Move on to the next topic, stability testing of pharmaceutical products. So what is the meaning of the stability testing? The test that monitor the quality, purity, potential, identity which could be expected to change upon storage as chosen by the stability tests. The tests such as appearance, assay, degradation products, microbial testing, dissolution, and moisture are some of the standard tests that has been continuously performed to assess the stability of the pharmaceutical products. Let us say example, if you take a tablet, before the storage what will be a color, and after the storing what will be a color, and what is the changes it was happening to the tablet, like cracking, capping, other pharmaceutical defects of tablets which we already studied. The assay, initially let us say the paracetamol having 500 mg of drug content. So during the storage, what are the changes or degradation of paracetamol happening? And if it is degrading, what is the degradation products that has been producing? Is any kind of microbial contamination has happened during the storage? And what is the dissolution profile before the storage and after the storage? And these are all the kinds of tests that will be performed during the stability testing of the pharmaceutical products. See, in the previous part 2 we have seen what are the different factors which is influencing the stability or the degradation of this pharmaceutical products. The major factor, if you see, it is the temperature, because other factors like if you take the sunlight, which can be prevented using some amber color bottles, the moisture which can be prevented by using tight containers, but the temperature cannot be prevented for the very much extent, because during the storage and it was also transported to the different countries, different regions. So the temperature will be a major influencing factor which causes this all the tests to be performed to see the temperature having any effect on the stability of the product or not. However, if you see, our country will be having a different temperature and zone, and if other countries will be having a different zones. And if you are manufacturing some product in our country, it doesn't mean that we are going to sell in this country. We are also going to be selling in other countries. So is it necessary to do the stability testing with our temperature of our country and with the different temperatures of other country? So it unnecessarily causes a lot of time, and a lot of money is involved to do this kind of testing. So what will be the solution for this if you want to sell the product in different countries? So what could be done to have a common test that can meet the criteria for all the climatic zones? So the ICH and WHO has come up with a different approach to solve this problem. The full form of ICH is, it is an international conference of harmonization of technical requirements for registration of pharmaceutical products. It is a unique project that develops technical requirements for new drugs and new drug products to facilitate their easy registration at drug regulatory authorities. So I think this is the first time you're hearing about this regulatory. So the regulatory authorities are nothing but the agencies which deals with the import, export, manufacture and conducting of clinical trials of their respective countries. In India it is CDCSO. ICH is a joint initiative involving both regulators of the respective countries and industrial partners as equal role in the scientific and technical discussions which are required to ensure and assess the safety, quality and efficacy of the medicine. As I have mentioned in the previous slide, ICH is a joint initiative between the respective regulatory agencies and the industrial partners. If you see here, for the European Medical Agency is the regulatory agency, and the industrial partner is European Federation of Pharmaceutical Industries Association. Similarly, in the Japan, Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare Japan is the regulatory agency, and Japan Pharmaceutical Manufacturer Association is the industrial partner. Similarly, in United States Food and Drug Administration is the regulatory agencies, and the industrial partner will be Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America. So these parties will frequently meet and will be discussing about the technical requirements for the pharmaceutical products which are developing and the unified procedures to test their products. What are the objectives of ICH? To make recommendations for the requirement of product registration, that is producing a common guidelines for all the countries which comes under ICH, and to produce an unified testing procedures, to reduce the need to duplicate the testing carried out during the research and development. So that's what we are discussing before. Like when we develop a product in India and we want to market the product in US, we should not have different testing procedures. We should, if we have a unified procedures, there is no need of duplicating the testing. And also we can minimize the human, animal and material resources, and it will be very economical to eliminate the unnecessary delay. If conducting in India, conducting in US, conducting Europe, so only unnecessary it will cause the delaying of the product launch, and also this can be eliminated with these concepts of ICH. Coming to our topic, that is stability testing. With the influence of temperature, the ICH have come up with an approach of an unified testing procedures based upon the concept of global climatic zone. The ICH has divided all the countries into 4 different zones. Zone 1, that is moderate zone. Zone 2, that is Mediterranean zone. Zone 3, that is hot and dry zone. Zone 4, very hot and moist zone. These zones has been divided based upon their annual temperature and humidity. If you see in zone 1, the annual temperature is around 21 degrees, and here it is 25, 30, and here it is 30. And if you see the annual relative humidity, it is 45 and highest will be 70 in zone 4 countries. India also comes under the zone 4 region. In zone 1, the countries are Great Britain, Canada, Russia. In zone 2, it is USA, Japan, South Europe, etc. In zone 3, which is also called as desert zone, the countries comes under here is Iran, Iraq and Sudan. So if you have developed a product and if you want to launch in all these countries, it is not necessary that if you have to go to each country and test your pharmaceutical stability. Hence ICH has given a unified procedures. You can launch a product by using their guidelines. Based upon the 4 climatic zones, ICH recommends 3 categories of stability testing, that is long-term, intermediate and accelerated. So these are the temperatures: long-term stability testing, accelerated and intermediate stability testing. For the long-term stability testing, and if the product is intended to be launched in the country which comes under zone 1, they have to test the stability of this product at 21 degrees centigrade plus or minus 2 degrees with a relative humidity of 45 degrees plus or minus 5 degrees up to 12 months. For the same product, the accelerated stability conditions will be 40 degrees plus or minus 2 degrees with a relative humidity of 45 plus and plus or minus 5% relative humidity for only 6 months. Whereas in the case of intermediate storage conditions, it should be tested for 30 degrees plus or minus 2 degrees with a relative humidity of 65% for up to 6 months. And similarly, if the product is intended to be launched in the zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, these are the testing conditions for the long term. And accelerated intermediate, the conditions will be same whatever the zone it may be. For some kind of products, the label should be, the label will be written as to be stored under the refrigerator and are in the frozen conditions. For suppose if we take the Regranix gel, it is basically a platelet derived human growth factor which is highly sensitive to the temperature. So the product label contains that this should be stored on frozen conditions. Similarly, if we take amphotericin B powder for injection, which is an antifungal drug, the product level will be contained, it will be stored in the refrigerator conditions because this is once again an highly thermosensitive drugs. So for this kind of drugs, the long-term stability storage conditions will be 5 degrees in case of refrigerated labels drugs and minus 15 degrees for a case of frozen drugs. For the intermediate storage conditions, it will be 25 degrees and 5 degrees respectively. See, one can, if you observe properly, the temperature ranges from long term to accelerated for all the levels of zones. If you see here, it is 21 degrees, then intermediate it is around 30 degrees, and for the accelerated it is 40. That means this covers the total ranges of annual average temperature from zone 1 to zone 4. Similarly, if you take the relative humidity, for long term it is 45 RH, whereas in case of intermediate it is 65 RH, and whereas in case of accelerated 75 RH. So it is also covering the average relative humidity temperature from zone 1 to zone 4. So if you test the stability of the products from this long term to accelerated stability conditions, we can now proceed for marketing approval of our pharmaceutical products to the respective regulatory agencies, and one can market the product in the respective country. Thank you everyone for your patience listening, and this is end of the presentation part 3.